Oh, look who it is. It's you. Well, I'm so happy to have you here. Well, me and Andrew have just been sitting here, and we wanted to let you know that today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, tell them a little bit about Patreon.
Oh, Patreon is a place you can go if you'd like to support us a little more. You can give us anywhere from dogs barking to $100 if you wanted to. You can give us any amount of money. But we also offer after parties for some of our episodes, footage of my dogs barking repeatedly while I'm trying to record, and well, actually, we don't have that one, not yet. That's going to be an exclusive.
Only to $250 donors.
Yeah, $250 donors get footage of my dogs barking while I'm trying to talk.
All right, you want to start that again?
No, I'm good. Who are our current patrons, Jess?
This is a fucking mess. Our current patrons are Stephanie L., Terry Needleman, Max Lunig, Benjamin Lear, Lily Ackles, Mackenzie Horner, John Donna, Taryn the Duck, Melissa Goldman, Jess Lightning, Ewan Cassidy, Haley McDonald, Taskier, Colin McLeod, Fire September, Mina Maniri, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Alice in Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Michael Johan, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Luna Rocks 222, Uragel, Duray, Witter, William Want, and Carrie Aherm. They're wonderful. I love them all. They give us a little financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you would like to join them in supporting us and get tons of fun perks such as patron-only commentaries or episodes a day or even earlier, come join us over at Patreon. All right, Andrew, you ready to start this show?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. How are you doing today, Andrew?
Well, I'm live from someone else's basement.
What are you doing? What are you doing in someone else's basement?
Well, I do their laundry. I asked them for a raise, but they're too cheap to give me one, so they told me I can just keep their son's money.
How much money does he usually keep in his pants?
Like a quarter, maybe. Sometimes $20 though.
What happens when you try to take his $20?
Well, I just tell that kid that he's a freaking. You're gonna have to bleep this part out because I'm about to go into some serious racial slurs.
This week we're talking about Carolyn or Change.
Machine. 16 feet below sea level, torn between the devil and the muddy brown sea.
Caroline or Change is a through-composed musical with book and lyrics by Tony Kushner and a score by Janine Tesori that combines spirituals, blues, Motown, classical music, and Jewish klezmer and folk music. The show ran both off-Broadway and on Broadway, as well as in London. It's about to have a revival pretty soon in 2020, which looks pretty neat, guys. Andrew, what was your overall thoughts, initial thoughts on Caroline or Change?
Caroline or Change, it's interesting.
That's what people say when they watch my short films, and I know they didn't like it.
It's interesting. I don't know. The thing is, it's kind of a long show with not too much going on. You know, like they have a few plot points, and really it just kind of meanders to the end, which I'm more of a fan of plot-driven stuff. I know that this type of musical is probably popular for some people who are more interested in like the drama element of it. Yeah, whereas I kind of prefer there to be a story that, you know, beginning, middle, end kind of thing.
I mean, it has that, though. It
has that, but only in like the most bare bones kind of form.
Well, that's kind of Tony Kushner's way. Tony Kushner is a well-regarded playwright, known mostly for Angels in America and he's now like writing a bunch of famous stuff. Like he wrote Lincoln for Steven Spielberg and is writing the new West Side Story. So he's kind of pushed himself from like Broadway theater into like the mainstream.
He's no longer a niche artist.
He is mainstream, very much mainstream. And he writes very meandering pieces. Like Angels in America is a wonderful, incredible piece with like brilliant moments, but it meanders quite a bit into a 6-hour-long play.
I don't think I could sit through that.
Well, how they do it, and it is pretty good, and I've seen a couple of my friends perform it once, is the first part is 3 hours, and then they feed you dinner in between, and then they sit you down for the second 3 hours.
I need a break halfway through a 3 hours. I mean, I need a break halfway through 2 hours.
In fact, you need a break right now, and halfway between the 15 minutes since we started.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already. I didn't take my 2 poops. I need a break.
He's got his colostomy bag on. Like that's it.
Wait. So if you're watching a 6-hour play, I mean, you're gonna need like 8 poops before you start. I'm just saying.
8 poops before seeing Angels in America.
Very true.
It's a great show. I think Carolina Change is just more up my alley than that show in general, but it has very similar themes like race relations in America, Jewish relations in America, and it comes very much from Tony Kushner's own relationships and his own feelings and his own culture.
It definitely feels very like grounded and real. They do some like theatric stuff, like characters like in the moon or talking to each other when they're not really there. But
Right.
For the most part, it's a pretty grounded story where not much like strange happens, you know.
Why don't you describe the story for us, Andrew?
Okay, well, Caroline is a person who lives in Louisiana, and she's working for a Jewish family as a maid, basically. Servant of some kind.
Yeah,
I mean,
maid.
she cooks.
More or less. She cooks and does the laundry every day.
Yeah,
She gets like $30 for it.
which I don't know what time. I mean, actually, I do know when this is supposed to take place. This is when JFK.
1963.
Yeah. So I don't. Was that a lot of money?
I
I
don't
don't
think
think that was very much. But she's struggling, and she has 3 kids to take care of. And she asks for a raise, and the family can't give it to her because the family is struggling. The family is another aspect of the show. They're kind of like the secondary characters, I would say.
It's weird because they have more development than most of like what feels to be the normal characters.
Yeah, like Caroline's friend and her kids have like almost no development, like very minimal. Whereas like everyone in the family has their own plot point and like their own story arc of some sort.
$30 in 1963 money translates to $251.94 in current time money.
What happened?
Just so that we all know.
How is she struggling? That's a ton of money every day.
I don't think it's every day. I think it's like every week, maybe.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Like if she was making $250 every day, like holy crap.
No, I think that's once a week.
All right. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that is very little. Okay. Yeah, so in the family, there's the son who likes Carolyn, and he's like her friend from the family, I guess, and he goes and visits her.
He also sees her more of a mother than he does like his father's new girlfriend or wife.
Yeah, because his mom died, and that's kind of his sticking point through the whole thing. And he doesn't like the new stepmom. And the stepmom is like weird in this, and I guess we'll get to her.
Yeah.
I don't really understand her perspective. I don't really know what she's on about.
I don't know what she... Like, is she supposed to be sympathetic, or are we supposed to feel for her?
It's like they frame her as like a villain, but also sympathetic, and like I don't really know how we're supposed to feel about her. And she like talks to herself, and she says like weird, ominous things sometimes.
You know
like,
who she reminds me of a little bit, but not nearly as well developed?
who?
Trina from Falsettos. Like, it feels like they're kind of cut from the same cloth, except she's a little bit more racist in Carolina Change.
Yeah. Okay. The dad doesn't do much. He plays the clarinet.
I like that he's represented by a clarinet every time like he's around.
Yeah, that's. I mean, honestly, without that, he has nothing. So.
They believe in science. And he tells his son there is no God. If you die, you just die. And then Caroline gives
Good on him.
Noah like the hope of thinking, hey, there's a heaven and everything is made by God.
Yeah, she rips that away from him, though. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, she does. Oh yeah, she does.
Yeah. And then I guess like the main, what I would consider the main plot is the between Carolyn and Noah, and that's that Noah keeps leaving money in his pockets, and the new stepmother tells her that she can keep it. Tells Carolyn that she can keep it.
Basically, out of guilt is the thing. She doesn't do it just because, like, it's a punishment to Noah. It's more like, instead of giving you a raise, you can just take all my son's money.
And it's the weirdest thing, too, because she keeps doing this thing where she talks directly to the audience, basically.
Right.
Like, to herself, to the audience. And she keeps saying stuff like, what am I supposed to do to get people to like me? It's like, some people just want to be upset all the time. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you going on about? I don't get it. But I don't know. I just find her character to be super bizarre and weird.
So I feel like her character has the most stage time. I feel like Rose has like some of the most like.
Yeah, and really, I don't think anything that she really did gets resolved in any real way, other than that Noah gives her a hug at the end, I think.
He lets her tuck her into bed, which is mainly the thing that she had a sticking point. He won't let me tuck him into bed. Ah.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It was just, she didn't really do anything to make Noah want her to tuck him in. I think he just kind of lost Carolyn as a mother figure, so he just needs someone else now.
Mm-hmm. So why does Noah and Carolyn have their falling out, so to say?
Okay, so for Shanika, he's given $20, and of course he leaves the $20 in his pocket, and Carolyn's like, it's mine. They said I can have it. I could buy so much stuff with $20. That's like what I make in a week. And he's like, no, you have to let me have it. That was a gift or whatever.
Now I can take my boy to the dentist. Now I can buy real presents for Christmas. The 20's mine. Now go away. Nothing but money. You've got plenty. Rules are rules, so calm yourself.
There's a bomb. President Johnson has built a bomb special made to kill all Negroes. I hate you. I hate you. Kill all Negroes, really for true. I hope he drops his bomb on you.
Noah, hell is like this basement, only hotter than this. Hotter than August with the washer and the dryer and the boiler full blast. Hell's hotter than goose fat, much hotter than that. Hell's so hot it makes flesh fry. And hell's where Jews go when they die. Here's your $20, baby. So long, Noah. Goodbye.
And I'm glad that they didn't just give her the high road.
I mean, yeah, I would say she took the lower road, considering Noah is actually supposed to be 8.
Mm-hmm. But throughout the show, people say to Caroline, why don't you just let out the person we all know you really are, that cold, mean person? She's like, no, I ain't gonna do that. And then the one time she does, she just feels such guilt, and she just lets out and begs God for mercy. No, I know you're a fucking heathen atheist. You're just trying to stir the shit.
I am absolutely trying to stir the shit.
But as an idea, religion is nice.
No, but okay.
What do you have against religion and having faith?
What, do you want to live forever? I don't want to live forever.
No, I want to fucking stop existing, but if other people want to live forever, who am I to tell them not to?
Well, they're gonna force you to live forever also, so, I mean...
I feel like if, like, let's say we get to heaven, and there's, like, a little door that's like, all right, you get to heaven, what do you want to do? I'm like, not exist! Bing! Give me that button. That's my heaven to stop thinking.
See, but here's the thing, man. Once you get there, you'll see that button, and then you'll be like, oh, but what if heaven's great? And then you'll be like, oh, I guess I'll give it a try. And then you're stuck there. You're stuck there forever. It's over.
Do you think that...
And you won't have the guts to press the button. You won't have the balls.
Oh, I'll push that button.
You won't have the balls to do it.
You think you would?
No, I would not. That's what I'm saying.
I think I would.
Nobody would. Maybe. I don't know.
Fans out there, if you went to heaven and you had a button to push, but is there a rule that you can't go into heaven? You either have to push the button or go into heaven. You can't come back out.
That's the rule. If you go into heaven, you're in there. That's it.
That's all my life is forever. I have to exist listening to fucking harps and bullshit on a goddamn cloud.
They're not harps, they're lyres. Harps are gigantic. Little babies couldn't carry those.
Okay,
it's a lyre.
I listen to lyres enough in my day-to-day life.
Heaven is full of lyres.
Yeah. Heaven is full of liars. Another t-shirt idea. Guys, get on making these t-shirts. We got a gold mine.
I gotta start a t-shirt factory. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah, Andrew's got it together. But no, leave in the comments if you would push the button or go into heaven. I'd push the button.
I think I'm gonna argue that Jess wouldn't push the button. Leave in the comments if you think Jess would have the balls.
In fact, look up his home address and come to his house and tell him whether or not he has the balls with a gun.
Oh my god. Okay, let's not go that far.
Back to Caroline or change.
All right. Do you think I covered everything? I mean, there's obviously some other plots, because like every character has their own tiny plot going on.
Which is great. What do you think of Caroline's daughter, Emmy?
I don't think much of her. Like, I don't think that she does much, is what I'm trying to say. She shows up like twice.
Yeah, but she has like a whole storyline. She's like really behind Martin Luther King and being an activist and all that. And her mom's like, just keep your head to the ground and don't get killed.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't care. I want to do that.
I won't have to take my meds today. I'm not taking them.
And I feel like it's really weird that she gets the last word. Like, she has the final song. Mm-hmm. And, like, she's, like, barely in it. And really, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel like the theme of this is Martin Luther King and being an activist, though. I mean, that's not really what I gathered from the whole rest of the show.
What'd you gather?
But then the final song is like, well, I mean, I feel like the theme. I don't even know if there is a theme.
Like, what do you think is the thematic tie? I feel like there's a theme, but I'm very curious as to what you think.
Probably, like, I feel like mothers is a pretty big tie. I mean, you have the story with the stepmom. You have Carolyn as a mother figure for her own kids as well as Noah, and the fact that Noah's mom is dead and what that did to his dad and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's kind of the tie. But then when it comes to like the show being over, they're like, all right, we're going to wrap it up with her kids singing about how they have to change the world.
Well, the world does have to change. You can't just ignore that part of like the history they're in.
No, you can't, but you don't have to end the show with it.
How would you have ended the show?
End it with a number from Caroline.
I mean, Caroline already had her Lot's wife song, which is basically her Rose's turn, where she just owns the stage. Like, it's all belongs to her.
Or end it with, like, what was the song? Why does our house have a basement? Or something like that.
But then we'd lose, like, the great moment between Caroline and Noah, where they apologize to each other.
Then end it with that. I get what they were trying to do. They wanted to have the ending be this big, like equality message, because, you know, that's a powerful message, and, you know, it's definitely a positive message. It's just, I'm not sure if it fit with the show, you know?
I feel like it's not a very political show.
No, I mean, they have it take place during this time where there is a lot of racial tensions, and one of the plot points is definitely racial tensions, but I don't know. I don't feel like it actually really earns this, you know, grand ending about like how the children have to change the world.
I mean, they're not wrong, but this feels like it's not about the grand systematic racism as much as the small microaggression, like between like white people that think they're progressive and black people that are doing work basically for slave wages.
And Jews.
Yeah, those two.
Who I guess are white. They're simultaneously white people, but also not white people. So
they have their own culture, yes. And speaking as neither a black person or a Jew, it is really weird that no one in the behind the scenes of this musical are black. What do you think about that? I feel like if this had focused a bit more on Noah as if he was a point of view character, I'd be more okay with it. But since it kind of has the point of view of Carolyn, it bothers me.
Are you saying that white people can't write black people?
I'm saying it feels a little more disingenuous when they do.
I mean, I did not know that there was nobody behind the scenes, and I didn't think it was weird when I watched it.
I know, but like, let me frame it like this. I feel the Jewish stuff, like the Jewish grandfather, the specifics there, ring a little bit more true than anything in Carolyn's household.
Yeah, but Carolyn's household is not the focus, which is why this ending is odd. Because the ending is Carolyn's household.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why that ending feels odd and tacked on and all that, because you have a bunch of white people that need a happy ending as if racism was solved and everything's great now.
Well, the ending doesn't say it's solved. The ending says that they need to be the ones to change the world.
Well, it becomes that way, especially when you think of it like, and 40 years later, look how far we've come.
I mean, we have come pretty far from the 60s.
Yes, but we're not perfect yet, and this kind of frames it as if we're in a perfect utopia where race relationships are A-okay.
I did not get that from this, I'll be honest. The ending is all about how we need to continue to work to change the world.
And I feel like that
is a totally good message. All I'm trying to say is it's a totally good message tacked on to the wrong musical.
I agree with you, and I think you and I are trying to say the same point here. It's just that mine says, if a Jewish person had written this show more about his relationship with, like, Noah's relationship with his maid and all that, and framed her from that and learning more about her life from that point of view, it would have been a little bit more ingenuous, but a worse musical.
I think you're really focusing too hard on who wrote it, because I don't think it really matters. I think anyone can write anything. I don't want to limit people to having to write from their own point of view, because that limits people a lot. So,
yeah. Did you notice that the music was written by the same lady that did Shrek the Musical? Did that give you that same feel?
It did not, honestly. The music in Shrek is very different.
Yes. Janine Tesori, who is probably one of the best music writers currently in the theater world. She also did Fun Home, which is one of my favorite musicals of all time. She does a great job at like making a varied, interesting piece of like music, like series of music here. It is weird that none of them feel like songs, though. They feel very much like opera or spoken word to beat more than actual musical numbers.
I think part of the problem I have with this show is exactly what you just said there. It almost feels like an opera if they got rid of all the arias and literally just had it be the parts in between the actual songs, and like the whole thing is just that, which I think is why it kind of feels so meandering and just kind of like it just goes and there's no resolution, because very rarely do they have like a big like this is a number, this is like a song number. It always just kind of feels like, oh, we're kind of going to the next song and we're still going to the next one, and you know,
we're just gonna keep on singing.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep singing, and I mean, it's technically a song, but there's no like repeating melody or like you know, there's no like high point or anything like that. You know, it's kind of like a flat line.
Right, and I feel that too, and I think a lot of that doesn't come from the music as much as Tony Kushner's lyrics. Whereas once again, Tony Kushner is not a lyricist; he is a playwright and a very gifted playwright. And you can feel that he is more directed towards writing prose and playwrights and monologues more than he is writing a musical number.
Yeah, which I guess probably put limitations on what you could do with the music, because you can't really write a song to prose of just people talking, you know?
Despite her best efforts, yes.
Yeah, which I feel like that especially just really makes this feel like it just kind of wanders around and like it's trying to feel its way to the end of the story.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a progression. It feels kind of like you're just stepping and stepping and stepping and stepping.
Yeah.
You're not going upstairs, you're going up. Instead of going up an escalator, you're at that like moving thing at the airport.
Yeah. And I think like my favorite part of the show is the parts about the money being left in the laundry, because that's the only part that kind of builds to a climax.
Yes.
And then gets resolved. Every other plot point in this, like every other arc in this, is just like nothing really happens. Like let's look at Rose's plot. I mean, she wants Noah to finally like her, and she wants Carolyn to like her. So what she does is she tells them that you can keep the change, and then she doesn't really do anything to make Noah like her, I guess. And then at the end of it, all is forgiven, just out of nowhere. And it's just like, all right, I guess.
As much as I do feel like the plot could use a little bit of reworking, I think that the fact there isn't an easy answer, at least before the epilogue, where it's like the kids need to save everyone, that feels real. It feels honest. Like when he's like, can we be friends again? And she's like, we was never friends. Like, it feels complicated, and it almost makes me wish Tony Kushner hadn't made this a musical.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like writing a musical that is a through-sung musical is a big risk, in my opinion.
But sometimes it really works, like Les Mis, Jesus Christ Superstar, Evita.
Yes, and sometimes it can really pay off. But you notice the thing with those ones that you named there, they all have big song numbers. Like,
yes.
They all have these, like, big numbers that it builds to. Like, like Les Mis, you're not just kind of wading through sung dialogue for 3 hours and then maybe this one big number at the end, Like, Les Mis, like, there's a talking part where they sing it, and then there's a song. Whereas this one, it just feels like it's those middle sections just all the way through the entire thing.
I like the instrumental descriptions. Like, Noah describes his dad as a clarinet, not a clarinetist. He is a clarinet, and his mother was a bassoon, and like all that.
It's interesting.
Like, I wish more had been done with that.
I like the clarinet stuff. I mean, when they go in, they do the clarinet. I mean, the clarinet gets solos a lot, and I think the actor's actually playing it on stage, which is cool.
Which is great.
But yeah, I mean, music-wise, the music is not, like, the instrumentals and everything's not bad. I think that they were just tied down to the lyrics and couldn't really do much with it. Yeah,
like, if Tony Kushner had wrote this play and then brought Janine Tesori and another lyricist, let's just say Lisa Crone from Fun Home, and they just wrote this play together and worked through it, I think this would have been a better piece with, like, big musical numbers. I think that Tony Kushner, I find this a lot with a lot of playwrights or screenwriters and all that. Like, I'm going to direct this too, which I'm guilty of sometimes. Their hubris getting in the way of making something great because they want to do it all.
Yeah.
And I think collaboration is one of the best things in creating great art.
I mean, your ego will get in your way more often than anything, Like, if you think I can do it all and I don't need help, your ego gets in the way,
Yeah, and it stops great art from coming out of it.
There's a lot of scenes in this where it feels like it would be better if it was not sung. Are you thinking of anything in specific? There's like parts where honestly, like parts that are even climactic, like the parts with the $20 bill. Like, I almost feel like that would have been more intense if they were just yelling at each other.
I disagree. I think the singing nature works particularly well there because it does kind of stop and become melodic and become sung parts, so that when she has that a cappella moment at the end where she's like, that's where Jews go when they die, like that hits twice as hard because of the lack of music there.
I suppose, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I just feel like it doesn't need to be sung. every time Rose is on stage and like talking to the audience, it's like kind of awkward.
Andrew, she's talking to you. I thought you loved that.
And I like it when there's a camera and they're looking at the camera. I don't like it when they're talking to me.
Oh, Andrew's turned against the fourth wall being broken.
All right, you want to go into a mid show?
I guess. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you. Today's show is brought to you by extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, who is currently donating to us on Patreon?
Well, let's see. We have Stephanie L., Terry Needleman, Max Lunig, Benjamin Lear, Lily Ackles, Mackenzie Horner, John Donna, Taryn the Duck, Melissa Goldman, Jess Lightning, Ewan Cassidy, Haley McDonald, Teskier, Colin McLeod, Fire September, Mina Maneri, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Allison Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Mikkel Johan, Nathaniel Stephen Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Luna Rocks 222, Rago Drow Witter, William Watt, and Terry Ahern.
Good job.
I tried my best.
All you wonderful people for donating to us. We love you so much. These people give us financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you'd like to join them in supporting us and get tons of fun perks, such as patron-only commentaries, or episodes a day early, or even earlier, come join us over at Patreon.
Just,
all right, Andrew, you want to get back to the show?
Or if you just want to hear me butcher your name every week, I mean, that's another good reason.
Every week, Andrew just gets every name wrong. Remember when Mina Maneri was the hard one?
Mina Moroni?
We love you, Mina. We love you very much, Mina.
We do.
All right, let's get back to the show.
16 feet below sea level, torn between the devil and the muddy brown sea. 16 soggy feet below the Gulf of Mexico.
What do you think of the weird opening number of 16 feet beneath the sea?
I like that it sets up the setting, as well as, well, I mean, the setting. It just sets up the setting as well as the character a little bit.
Right.
I think it's neat. I like that it comes...
It's really hard to describe any one song.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. When do you consider this song starts and ends, is what I was going to ask. Like, does this song start at the beginning and end when they leave this room? Or does it start with Carolyn alone and then end when someone else joins?
I think it ends when someone else joins, or just whenever the composer puts the new song start.
What do you think of the opening?
I think it's good. I think you really get a sense of Carolyn's worldview, but I just wish it was more of an opening number. I know that's really dumb to say, but I wish we had a little bit more of a theater number.
It needs a hook, you know? And I mean, maybe...
It's got a great title. I think that title alone, that sings. That feels like it could sing off the page.
And it comes back, that idea of the fact that, you know, everything in Louisiana is underwater, that comes back at the end as well, with Noah asking if his mom is underwater, and with the song Underwater, which is like the last song, I think, or the second to last song. But it doesn't have like a good hook. Like, there's nothing to really draw you in right away musically. At least not in my opinion.
I mean, the music itself is good. And can we talk, because I don't think we're going to be able to do like a really in-depth
The problem is there's like 100 songs if you count them.
But the music itself is so unlike anything else. It reminds me a lot of falsettos, but it's not quite there.
It reminds me of falsettos, but only at certain times, and they do go a little more... I actually like it when they go a little more R&B. They actually have like these, in a few songs, they have these like backup singers that come in, and they even do like the R&B dancing, like backup singer dancing, which is kind of neat. And I like when they do that. And then also whenever the like father is there, it goes very heavily like a Jewish sound.
Klezmer kind of Jewish.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a little bit of variation, which is nice. I think that this would be, I'll be honest, I think I would not have liked the show at all if they didn't have that musical variation, because then it would have just felt like 2 hours of the same song playing.
And I can see that. But I like it when like that I don't even know. I think it's part of the radio quartet where that deep voice is like, "Oh no, Karen."
Yeah, I think the coolest stuff they do in this is some of the vocal stuff they do, because they always bring in backup vocalists and things like that, which is cool.
And some of it feels like reminiscent of Dave Malloy's work in like Great Comet or even like the Octet musical.
Yeah, although those ones have more defined song structures, so...
I mean, to a certain point, yes, I agree with you. Was there any musical, like, because you, in case the people around us don't know, Andrew doesn't like musical theater, but he knows music very well, whereas I know basic music theory and
It's not that I
all
don't
that,
like
but
music
I'm not
theater.
like,
I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, Jess.
you've watched a piece of musical theater every week for the last 73 weeks, 78 weeks.
Yeah,
My
so I mean, I've
gosh.
watched a lot of music theater. I think I've watched more than most people probably have. So, if I didn't like it, I'm a trooper.
Guys, do you think Andrew's a true musical theater fan now? Is the premise of our show fundamentally flawed at this point?
Our show has broken at its core, and it will never recover. All right. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I've got plans. If this show like doesn't like recover, I've got some ideas.
I don't know what we're recovering from. I feel like we've been doing pretty good.
I have some ideas for like actual videos. Like I have this fun idea where we get like an actual Broadway choreographer to try to teach us ballroom dancing, and
Why are we
record
not doing that
I feel like
right
that would
now?
be
That's like the best idea you've ever had.
I feel like that would be such a good like video
Okay.
to do. Like and just basic.
So we've gotten me into musical theater in quotes. Now we have to get me
Yes.
into musical theater.
Honestly, that is my roughly planned out next step after like we kind of hit a
musicals
wall with
with
this
cheese
podcast.
phase 2. Making Andrew a Broadway
Honestly.
star.
Honestly, this has kind of been my plan all along.
Phase 2
like,
doesn't
for a
end
while.
until I'm the lead of a show on Broadway.
Or at least like a main ensemble. All right, guys, let us know in the comments if that's something you want us to do, because I'm so down to fucking do this.
All right. Dude, that's the $1 billion idea right there.
Honestly, it has been something I've
Edit
been
this
thinking
out of
about
the
a lot.
episode because somebody else is going to do it.
They are already, even if it is in the episode or we do it already, people are gonna rip it off. People already
People
rip us off.
all the time.
Andrew,
It's so
tell
sad.
Andrew, tell the Today Tick story.
I don't even know the whole story, Jess. You have to tell that story.
So Today Ticks, as most of you probably know, is like this resource where a lot of people can get a lot of cool, theater tickets for a discount price. Okay? Okay. They sponsor a lot of podcasts, and a couple days ago, as of recording this, they make an Instagram post where they compare musicals to specific types of cheese.
That doesn't sound familiar in the slightest. I wonder where they got that idea.
I wonder. And then people in the comments point out, like, y'all stole this. And I was, and they started tagging us in it. And I was like trying to be diplomatic about it, like, oh, a cheesy caper. And then they're like, oh no, I guess we'll have to collaborate next time. And I'm like, what a bullshit response. I would have preferred if you said nothing.
I mean, why didn't you collaborate this time? We would have done it.
Honestly, you could have just tagged us, been like, ideas stolen from musicals with cheese,
There's no way that they just came up with that by themselves. It's such a bizarre idea.
I mean, it's so stupidly specific. Like, no one else could have come up with that except for you. It's kind of the point.
All right. I don't know. I'm not like super mad, but like that is really kind of like on. It's like, what are you doing?
I mean, neither of us are mad. It's more like, you're gonna be that blatant about it?
It's fine. Now we'll never get sponsored by Today Ticks. It's over.
Yeah, sorry, Today Ticks.
Always there's been people who hold their head high, getting through. I can't. Ain't never been no good finding joy the way you should. Hope in water turned to wine. Hope's fine, hope's fine, hope's fine. Till it turned to mud, and some folks go to school at night. Some folks march for civil rights, and I ain't got the heart. I can't hardly breathe. Some folks do all kind of things, and black folks someday will live like kings, and someday sunshine shine on ocean. It's true, it be that way, but not for me. This so true. Y'all can't do what I can do. Y'all strong, but you're not strong like me. I'm gonna slam that iron down on my heart. Gonna slam that iron down on my throat. Gonna slam that iron down on my sex. Gonna slam it down till I drown the fire out till there ain't no air left anywhere. What else? What else? What else? What else good? What else good? Give me an arm for slam down the iron, flat, 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 flat. Now, how about that? That's what Caroline can do. That's how she rearranged herself. That's how she shines.
Lot's Wife might be one of my favorite musical theater songs. It is like, I know it's like our 11 o'clock number. It's right after Carolyn racial slurs her way into not being Noah's maid anymore.
Well, I mean, she never actually got fired. She just left.
She just stopped going because her own guilt wouldn't let her eyes on Noah again. So she goes to church and is like, God, why am I here? I'm such a horrible person. And just like this self-pity emotional release of like, I'm poor, I can't support my family, and I'm mean, and why?
And then she turned into a pillar of salt.
Yep, just like Lot's
Just
wife.
like Lot's wife.
And I think this is like, there's a lot of moments in musical theater that I think are like so difficult to perform. One of them is I'm Here from Color Purple, which we did. Another one is Rose's Turn from, and I think Lot's Wife is right up there as because it just jumps from topic to topic, and it does kind of have a bridge, and it kind of does have like an actual chorus, so to say.
Yeah, and
it's repetitious.
what I think this song is like what they built the entire show up to, which is what makes it kind of the best moment in the whole thing. Because it kind of like, if the rest of the show feels a little bit like a flat line, this is like the one heartbeat.
Yes. And it ends like so gut-wrenchingly with from evil she done, Lord, set her free, set me free. Don't let my sorrow make evil of me. Like, it is a self like discovery song of, I have been bad in the past, but I really don't want that to be me anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a great moment, and I think it's the best part of the show, in my opinion, too, because basically everything in this climax part is what I feel like more of the show should have been. Like, we should have had more moments like this. Maybe not specifically exactly like this, but more heavy drama, more emotion, and less...
More melodrama. I know it sounds weird to like ask for more melodrama.
Well, this isn't... I wouldn't say this is melodrama. I think this is like real drama. I would say the rest of the show feels like melodrama, where it's just like, you know, small infighting with the family and like just little things like happening. And it's like, this is just dumb, you know? Give me something really emotional. And this is like somebody actually really messed up and did something bad to a little kid and is now really guilty about it, you know?
Yes, and you don't see stuff like that in musical theater. That's where you got that, like, as you said, the heartbeat.
And I just wish there was more of that. I wish there was more real emotions, and less just kind of like petty infighting.
I think it comes that way a little bit when she slaps her daughter. for like talking back to a white man. Like, I don't want you to get killed and all
Yeah, but that's such a minor part, and they really don't come back to that very much. The daughter, all of Carolyn's family is not in it enough, in my opinion.
I agree, and I wish they were in it more.
I also agree, because it would have given it more, but I think that the writer probably wanted to stay where he's a little more comfortable, and so he tried to write more about the Jewish family, which honestly I would have preferred if he just didn't do that and just focus on the main character, you know?
It felt like a cake and eat it too kind of moment, where I was like, I want to focus on the Jewish family because that's what I know, that's where I feel comfortable, but also I can't just ignore Carolyn's family.
Yeah, and also Carolyn has all the good drama and all of the, like, I mean, come on, like, what does, I mean, I keep ragging on Rose, but what does Rose have in this story? I mean, she's literally, she has a song where she's just on the phone complaining to her dad about how she isn't as rich as she seems. It's like, come on.
Hey, I complain to my dad about not being as rich as I seem all the time.
Oh yeah, and that's great, but like when you have an actual character that has real drama, like this is just petty garbage. Like get this off the stage. I want to see I want to see the good stuff.
Show me a girl turn into a pillar of salt.
Come on.
Come on. All right, Andrew, what was your overall thoughts on Carolyn or Change and your cheese rating?
Well, let's see. I mean, my overall thoughts, if I haven't made it clear, I wasn't in love with this. It's definitely, I don't know what I want to say. It's trying a lot of things, and there's a lot of like subplots, and there's definitely a story here that they wanted to tell. I just don't know if it's told in a way that I find satisfying. And for me, it kind of dragged a little bit, and the good parts were really good. And I mean, when you get close to the end, that's where it starts becoming more intriguing. But you have to sit through the whole, like all of Act 1, you have to sit through before you can even get there, you know? And like in Act 1, I mean, Act 1 ends on like nothing. Like, what has happened in Act 1 when you get to the end of Act 1, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel where you're coming from, and it is a little bit of like petty infighting in a family.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care. You know, I deal with this stuff in my real life. I don't want to see this on the screen or on the stage.
Are you saying you go to musicals to take away your bluesicles?
Absolutely. I mean, and I know it's art, and people like to say art can be whatever you want it to be, but in the end, it's entertainment. You know, I want to be entertained, and this is that just doesn't entertain me. So, I mean, that's my opinion.
But the thing is, like, even the more like melodramatic, darker stuff does entertain you, or at least catches your attention.
Yeah, and I think what it is that there just really isn't anything happening, and it just or there is stuff happening, and it's just not portrayed in an exciting way. So, I don't know. I mean, that's my opinion. Obviously, there is some redeeming qualities to this, and the music is good enough that I could definitely see someone really enjoying this. That person just isn't me.
And she's rating.
Oh man, let's see. I want to give it like a Louisiana cheese, but here's the thing: is when I look up Louisiana cheeses, like famous ones, it's goat cheese, and I just gave goat cheese to the other show we did. How about I'm gonna give it Creole cheese, which is a farmer cheese from New Orleans. How about that?
Sounds good. I like this a lot more than I expected to. I was a little disappointed in how there wasn't too much drama throughout it, but it feels very in line with Tony Kushner. I'm mostly disappointed in the fact that I don't think the lyrical writing is that sound, and its integration with the music feels very awkward and stilted and creates like a weird robot language that they're kind of all speaking in.
Yeah, I think it's a show that could be good. It needs to be shopped a lot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in the new upcoming Broadway revival that's coming in 2020. I think they're making a lot of changes and updating it a bit, so I'm interested to see where that's going to go. I think you have so much talent involved in this, and it's so close to greatness that it's not there yet. However, cheese rating, I am giving it a $20 cheese flight from Costco because my $20, give it back. My $20, give it back.
Racism.
I didn't want that. Nope.
All right.
Andrew,
What's that?
before we move on, how would you Muppetize this?
Oh my god. This can't be Muppetized. Are you kidding me?
Are you saying it can't be Muppetized?
Okay. Carolyn, Miss Piggy. Easy.
I would not have put Miss Piggy as Carolyn. I would have put her as the wife, the ex-wife, or the new wife.
Really?
Yes.
I don't see that. Maybe. I don't know.
She's complaining about how she doesn't have money. That's the most Miss Piggy thing to do.
Okay. Miss Piggy as Carolyn, and then the There Is No God guy can be Kermit, and then we now have this like new sexual tension thing going on.
Okay.
All right, there's some spice for you. There's a little drama.
I don't see Kermit being able to play the clarinet.
Yeah, that's why we replace it with a banjo.
My dad's a banjo, and Robin would play Noah, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course, because Robin is the son. And okay, Rose. I would see Rose as like that bassist girl who's like, you know, I don't know. No, she's too chill. She's too chill. She can't do it. I don't know who would play Rose. I guess Miss Piggy could just do both because she's the only girl Muppet.
And she's played by Frank Oz.
I mean, that is the thing with Muppetizing musicals. There's not enough girl Muppets.
Yeah.
You run into that problem a lot.
Hey, Disney, where's all the girl Muppets?
Yo, Disney, what are you, a bunch of sexists? No girl Muppets? And you want the Muppets to win an Oscar? I don't think so.
They won an Oscar. Don't you remember?
I don't remember. What did they win?
Man or a Muppet for Best Original Song.
Oh, man.
Remember this?
Oscars are sexist, was proven now.
They are, because Muppets ain't got no women.
Muppets got knows women's.
One more. Statler and Waldorf will be playing the grandfather.
Oh, absolutely. And we can have it be two, and they can be like
yes, gay grandpas.
But they don't say it. It's not in there because it's a Disney property. But, you know, it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing, you know? But, like, you know, on the real, though, China doesn't need to know.
You know, if you're not making out on screen, are you even gay?
That's what I have to say. I mean, whenever I see a character in a show or something and they don't immediately kiss somebody, I'm like, what's their sexuality? I guess they don't have one.
I mean, no one has seen me and Andrew in person, so maybe we're gay and we're just kissing all the time when we're not on the podcast.
The crazy thing is, me and Jess haven't even seen each other in person.
No. Maybe the sexual tension between us is just so powerful. The minute we're face to face in person, it's just like
tongue literally in the other one's stomach.
I'm tonguing your belly button the minute I see
it's
you.
It's over. No, you're going all the way down my throat. Like you're lapping up the stomach acid. That's how far in you are.
Oh my god.
That is disgusting.
No, what's not disgusting though?
Our beautiful patrons.
You're quite right. Our wonderful patrons. You are not disgusting. And if I could, I would tongue kiss you all the way down to your belly button. So, thank you for listening this far in. I can't wait for all the tweets saying, my god, I almost threw up listening to you guys.
I mean, yeah, that yeah.
We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. Our Twitter is at Cheesy Musicals. Our Instagram is Musicals with Cheese. Our YouTube page is also Musicals with Cheese. Our email is musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Send her love at Jolene Casco on Instagram. All right, Andrew, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this shit on
I'm just like, why can't we ever get corporate sponsors, you know? Like, I just don't get it.
I'm licking up your stomach acid from making out too hard.
I just don't understand why corporations don't want to touch us. I want to touch them.
Because I want. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
I love ya.